love it.
Pat from Pop Culture with Pat, here with Annabeth Gish and C. Thomas Howell, talking about the upcoming film Ride. Great to meet both of you guys, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for
Happy to be
having us.
here.
You're very welcome. So, just to kind of start things off, I wanted to ask both of you, how did both of you get involved initially in the project, and what was it about getting to explore these characters and step into this world that really excited you? And we'll start off with you, Annabeth.
I read the script. It kind of one of those things that I received the script and the offer to do the job, and I read it, and I immediately was like, "Yep, I'm in," because it was on the page. It was something I'd never done before. It was something I'd never seen before. And it just I was really in the mood to get down in the, not to use again the metaphor, I'm sure I'll use it a lot, but the dirt. This was just so gritty and real, and man, you just crave this kind of gritty real life. This movie does not shy away from, whether it's cancer and addiction and medical insurance crisis. And marriage issues and all sorts of, but at the same time, within all of those issues, you have just humanity. And so it was a no-brainer for me. I was really excited to sign on.
What about for you, Tommy?
I had a little bit of a different experience because my father was a professional bull rider for 10 years before he became a stuntman. And I was raised on a ranch. I was raised, by a cowboy to be a cowboy, and rodeo was a big part of our lives growing up. So when I read this thing, of course I was excited and I wanted it to be authentic and amazing. But one of my biggest concerns was the fact that it was going to fall short. And I didn't want to present a movie to my peers. And when I say my peers, I'm talking about the rural and cowboy culture that wasn't authentic. So I had some concerns, to be honest with you, at first. But once I started working and talking with the writer director, Jake Allyn, who also plays my son in the movie, and he started bringing up names like Annabeth and Forrie J. Smith, who plays Lloyd from Yellowstone, and he's an amazing cowboy himself and a good actor, and spent his whole life riding bareback horses and bulls. To me, it was an opportunity to really present something that I was going to be proud of. And I was so happy when we jumped into it. We didn't have a lot of time to make this movie, and we really just, Annabeth and I, on day one, we had our hardest scene in the film to shoot. That was our argument outside the house there, and we hadn't spent any time together. So by the end of that day, we had a pretty close bond, and all of us felt pretty. We were riding pretty high in the saddle, and it just got better from there. The director was really open to making the changes to help make this piece as authentic as possible. And you don't get that always, especially in big Hollywood movies. In bigger Hollywood movies, as an actor, your job is to, show up, be prepared, and shut up. But that's why I had hesitations with this piece, because when you're making a Western or a modern Western, or even watching it, and you come from that background, you see all the people who don't really ride and who can't really saddle a horse or aren't wearing their hats properly. And that's what I didn't want to be a part of. But I think we did a really great job on the whole, representing the rural community and making that as authentic as possible. And I'm really proud of the piece.
Yeah, so that's completely understandable, especially where you have, you come from that background. So you kind of touched on it briefly, guys. You guys play husband and wife in the film. Can you just talk about the experience of working with each other, but then also what was something that the other brought as a scene partner that you feel elevated your performance in the film? And we'll start with this time with you, Tommy.
Well, I wasn't aware of Annabeth's incredible history as an actor. Like I said, the first scene that I had with her was one of the more difficult scenes that we had. And this was a relationship that was strained in the movie. This was a marriage that had been challenged. and that probably wasn't going to end up a happy one. And a lot of stereotypes can come to the performances when that's happening. And I'm not really interested in playing stereotypes. She really gave me a solid background to take risks. And you have to be a courageous performer to not know somebody and give that part of yourself up right away. And obviously that comes from her experience and her background. But to be given that gift on day one makes you go all in on every day after that. So even though it was the hardest scene, I think, for us to perform, and in general, I would have liked to have had a week under my belt and gotten to know somebody a little better before that scene. We only had an 18-day shoot, so it really started off with a right hook to the jaw, and that really bonded us, and I think created a trust between us very quickly. And I adore her. I want to do all her movies now. So that's the way I felt about it.
And what about for you, Annabeth?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, what I respect so much, Tommy came in and he would not compromise. And there was one particular issue. We had sort of a wardrobe. Remember that whole shebang? and 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 he handled it in the way that I knew, like, okay, he's going to take care of us. He's going to make sure, like, he is invested. And when you know, just supporting everything he said, like, it's hard. I wish we could go back and reshoot that first scene at the end of the movie just because we knew each other better, you know? Um, but I think we both were there to make it as good as we possibly could. And when you know that first off the bat, like when you see that and you see an actor willing to like fight for what's right, it sets the tone immediately. And you're like, oh shit, we're in the ring, and this is like he's right here with me, and we're gonna make this it it's not always comfortable, but it's better. And that it shouldn't be comfortable. You know what I mean? When you go to work and everything's just sweet and saccharine, then what's the point?
Yeah.
It gets boring.
It gets boring. And I really like the tussle adds a lot to it. So I'm ditto. I think
So basically what she's saying is I was a bit of a hellraiser, but
no,
not from an egotistical place.
no,
You know, I
no.
just, it came
I,
from love.
I appreciate that in more ways than anything. I mean, it's just, you know, you put your ass on the line and you fight for what's right. And I will say, you know, with actors like Tommy and I who have been around a long time, there's a lot of experience, and then there's a lot of life. And when you endure in this industry, you got a lot of stories to tell. And I think, you know, I can't wait to see the next 10, 15 years of what Tommy's going to do and bring, because I think he's just beginning again, truly.
Well, I just want to say thank you guys so much for your time today. It was great getting to, meet both of you and chat about the film. Tommy, I just want to say real quick, love the song Ride. I've actually had that on repeat ever since, it's been released.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I can't wait for people to check out the film, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.